Alright. Good evening, folks. Finish the map. Hopefully. I hope I don't have to update it. I'm pretty sure none of my last minute changes broke the map. 95% sure. But if they did, I'll just update it. I haven't advertised the map at all apart from the stream, so it'll be no need to worry. Howdy, miss. Yeah. This took way too long. Way too long. I think I spent like 70 hours or something making this level. Hey. I don't know. I'll go through this for the credits. Credit to Cat for the awesome moon brick and background I use in the majority of the map. Looks great, has great lighting, big fan. Citria did made and published the stars in the background that I'm using in the parts that don't have the moon brick background. And credit to them for making it available, because I would have had no idea how to make those stars. I kind of spoiled the music. And Twitch chat for morale. Alright. We'll just skip over the, Alright. I figured I had to include Twitch chat in there somewhere. So this is at the gym. I didn't make a full gym. I made a couple intermittent strawberries with singular or one or two tricks in them that guaranteed they were proof of knowledge. I guess I can talk about the rooms in some manner. So this room in particular, I kind of just wanted it for like this last room, I just wanted like a proof of concept, like, hey, can you momentum boost through a dream block? Do you know how to do a chained ultra? Stuff like that. So I just figured, stuff like that. I wanted to include stuff like that pretty early on in the level. Okay, apparently also, can you jump out of a dream block? It should have also been there. Oh my gosh. Alright. Pardon me if I don't play very well. Oh. I promise this is all consistent. I promise. I've played this level too long. No, that was too late. This guy can't be his own mod. I know, right? I never said I would start the Twitch stream and be fresh. Oh, I mistimed it. God damn it. That trick, I might get complaints about that trick. I like it though. I think that trick is awesome and really satisfying to get. People might complain about that one though. I decided to kind of have, before the main music, kind of these beginning screens, I want to just create this sense of wonder and relaxation in the player before the level got a bit serious. So that's kind of what that's kind of why I'm using this old site music before we get into any of the hard screens. This is what I say as I failed the tutorial for this. Oops. I considered putting that crumble block there higher up, but if I did that, I really worried that if I put it higher up, that I wanted to put it as low as possible so that people were always, if they got the trick, they could always do it instead of being too low. Anyway. Enough of the relaxation, though. Fun fact, this whole maze is just here to force you to listen to this whole sound effect, because I couldn't figure out how to blend it into the next part. So, I just made that maze so you had to listen to the whole sound effect before it went into the main music for the level. Now this screen was the first one you made, and it's largely the same. I changed up the ending because I decided it was too mean before. I didn't want to force people to time that. This screen was actually like the second to last screen made, I think, funny enough. Because it was basic, it's basic, ooh, mistimed that. It was basically, you know, it was technically the third screen made, but then I blew up the entirety of the screen except for the start. Like this starting portion up to here was all kept, but then I destroyed the entirety. It was a finished screen otherwise. Wall bounces are Grandmaster. I kind of have the expectation that most good players will breeze through this level. That trick I wondered if I should change. But I really don't know. Oops. I think this screen turned... I maybe could have put this screen earlier. I think the screen turned out rather easy. How you blank? How you doing? It's what I say after I fail the beginning corner boost. Wow, I never said I was going to bring my A game for this launch stream. Oh, uh-oh. This... What you are watching right now, Missile, is going to go on YouTube as the clear video, and I will link it in the Game Banana page. As a very unedited video, so everyone can watch all of my deaths on my own map. I've played through 1,000 times. Legit, I've played, oh my, I've probably played through this level, like, 10, or this screen, this individual screen, probably like 5 hours in its finished state, and I'm just failing this reverse green super. It's just sad. This section was really interesting. I went through a lot of edits on this, like, crystal hallway section. Like, a lot of edits. I eventually think I've arrived at one that is reasonably fair. And doesn't require the player to do anything unintuitive. Oh! That ending's also new. Y'all wouldn't have seen that ending since I last streamed it. I basically changed all of my timing endings to be slightly different and require a dash at the end, because the dash on like timing a jump through is a lot more lenient than just like a kick off of a jump through, if that makes sense. At the speeds I was having the player go, I could do it consistently, but I didn't want to force anyone to actually have to learn the timing on it, so I decided to convert all of the jump through endings to be dash based instead to start with. People are gonna be scared by the video length. I don't know. Oops. Oh, that's weird. Spike kick? What? On the jump through? Oh my. I'm pressing all the wrong buttons. The jump through thing? It's not really spike kick. You just press jump when you're moving through a jump through. Because the spike is, there you go, facing one way. This, I know I have chained ultras before, but I swear the double corner kick is where this map actually kind of works the low Grandmaster I said it was. Oh! I was really hoping to first try that ending part to lull people into a false sense of security that it wasn't that bad. The ending to this screen is mean. Guaranteed. It's really good fun though. Promise. It's a fun fact that wall bounce there is actually entirely optional. If you, but I added it so if you cut your jump, you can still live, or you just miss the wall bounce like I just did. Just edit it. I'm not gonna edit this. First off, that'd be extra work. Second off, I'm making no illusions that I'm silvering or goldening this level, or terminology you want to use. Oh, alright. At least I got the double corner kick the first try. But nah, this is probably my favorite screen in the level. Arguably the hardest. Arguably. Mainly for the ending section. I don't think that the section I just did is too bad, but I think this ending is rough. Not too low. But I really like this screen. I think it definitely has the best flow on the map. To be honest, like, if I was to rate my own level, I'd probably say, like, I made 2 really good screens, and then a bunch of solid screens that have some good potential in them. That's how I would personally rate this level. Oh. Ow. What color did I make the Deathless Berry? Unmodified. Honestly, I don't even know. I don't know if I had to enable it or not, so I don't even know if it's a thing. Oh, that's weird. You can do that? Do what? Nah, too low. Just bearing level, then rain level. Just leave the Deathless Berry default? I don't know. No idea. I never saw the Deathless Berry in any of the options, and I don't really care. If someone does want to Deathless this level, like get Golden Berry or anything, and they don't see it, they can message me, and I will figure it out and update the level. But otherwise, I'm not particularly concerned. It's something people would have to actually want to do, you know? Oh, bollocks. He's gonna red this level? I mean, it's just do the 3 tutorial berries. I mean, it's based... Technically, you don't even need to beat the map. You don't even need to do any of the hard screens. Like, the last 3 screens are definitely the hardest screens. I do wonder if this screen was a bit too much of a difficulty spike. Oh, it's fun. I'm pressing too fast. Gosh darn it. It's real, that trick is kind of hard, I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, this screen, interestingly, I would say, even though this is the hardest, I feel like its initial creation took a while. Like, it was one of the longest screens on the initial creation. But maybe it's just because it was my favorite screen. There we go. But it went through very little rewrites. After its creation, I've maybe gone back and changed like 2 things about that screen, and that's it. How'd you go? Yeah, this screen was another screen where I haven't done a ton of rewrites on it. Oops. I was kind of just feeling like I wanted to make a vertical section. So that's why this screen exists. Fun fact, that wall bounce is actually optional. You just need to do a very... That's terrible. I cannot dash straight. You hate to see it. Congrats. Thanks. It's kind of funny. As I moved further in the level, I realized the direction I was really having fun designing didn't necessarily, like, in the design process. Fuck! God damn it. Oops. I cursed in the clear video. You hate to see it. The direction I was going included less and less stream blocks, which I'm more zippers and swap blocks, which is interesting because I really like dream blocks. Bro, just from the design perspective, I was finding them. Oh my. Straight left. when I was designing these like later screens, I was like, wow, all of these interesting ideas I want to do have a lot less to do with dream blocks. I think if I were to work with dream blocks in the future, I might see about adding like some of the zipper dream blocks or something. I think those, you can do a lot of really cool stuff with those. But just the basic dream blocks, I was finding, you know, I could make, you can tell in these like last couple of screens that I largely just relegated them to just be like transition dash fast sections. Oops. Instead of like any grand vision. I used them a lot more in the easier screens of the level, interestingly enough. Maybe it's just because I want the difficulty to ramp up, and oops, I'm alive. Wow. And I personally find dream blocks very easy. Alright. What was that? I didn't realize this as a player designer mistake. As in, like, as I past experiences from like playing modded Celeste levels and then going to design one, and something that something I encountered where I didn't realize designers had to do this or some such. Is that what you're asking? You're in Utah now? It's hot? Alright. Howdy, Franks. Utah is hot. Weather right now is very hot. I really want someone to die on that wall bounce, because I think it'd be hilarious. I'm not gonna lie. Unfortunately, I know that I've gotten the timing down, so I'm not too, I haven't died on that wall bounce in a while. But yeah, Guy, I'm happy to answer the question. Just clarify for me that you're asking, like, something I didn't realize was a design factor. You're asking what was something I didn't realize was like a problem or a challenge in design from just playing the levels in the past. Is that correct? How you doing? Downloaded? Well, thanks. Appreciate it. I haven't... Correct. Huh. I mean... I'd say like the biggest design to like playing takeaway is when you're playing when you're playing a level, you notice a level that has a bad camera, but you don't necessarily know, like a level that has a good camera just feels like a fine level, you know? Like, you don't necessarily think, oh wow, this level had a good camera. But as I was designing, I realized it's real easy to make a section with a bad camera, and it's a lot harder to make a section with a good camera. And so even though that camera might largely be unnoticed, like, oh, there are a million camera triggers in these screens. Oops, I know what happened there. I didn't climb to the top of the block. There are a million camera triggers the player never sees. Like, that fast section alone probably has like 4 camera triggers in it, gradually slowing the camera down. Oops, wrong button. Like this one right here. So you might see, but as the player slows down, there's like a couple. Because the way the camera works is you position it some level in front of Madeline, and so, you know, like I say, oh, the X offset of the camera is like 5 or something, you know, and so at that point, I have a few camera triggers there that says, okay, go now. Okay, I'm talking, not thinking, or not playing, but go from 4x offset to 3.5 to 3 to 2.5 and so on. Until here where it's fully reset to just standard, or to like x offset 1, I think. And then here do a similar thing, but here the way, oops, I'm too busy talking, explaining, because this screen had some really interesting camera movement, but this one in particular, or that right there, I kind of cheat. I wasn't getting the camera how I wanted, so I just put a wall that you would run into, and then reset the camera when you hit the wall. So I kind of cheated. I said, oh, I'll just stop your momentum, because I couldn't get the camera quite right. I'll just forcefully stop your momentum with a wall, give you time to react, but then that allows me to, like there, that allows me to reset the camera. Ow. You'll also note, I mean, again, I can talk at great lengths about the camera, all the camera work in this level, because it really was like my big takeaway, you know, because a lot of other aspects of design, I never did get rid of that, did I? Yeah, whatever. A lot of the other aspects of design, like there was a bunch of challenges along the way, but this one in particular, or the camera in particular, I think is you can really only realize the challenge of it if you're designing a level. But you'll also notice that there's a lot of camera triggers where I just like bump the X or Y by like 0.5 or 1 just to indicate to the player what direction they should go. Like, oh, the camera moved up, they should be looking up. Or the camera moved right, well then they should be looking right and preparing for the next trick on the right. You can kind of grab the oh, this, I've greatly changed this section from when I last streamed. Well, greatly. Woo! And there we go! 26 minutes, that was terrible. I have beaten that level in like, I don't know, 7 minutes in playtesting. And it took me 26 minutes. Absolutely awful. I couldn't figure out how to put an end screen here, so I just left it black. Call me lazy. $78 deaths. There you go, Abdul. There's your benchmark. You just need to beat 78 deaths. 3 berries. But you can't miss them. I didn't hide anything. You cannot miss the berries. I really toyed with the idea of adding an extra challenge screen at the end. I really toyed with the idea of adding like a 4th berry, which is a challenge screen at the end. But I decided I'd kind of explored a lot of the ideas I wanted to do, and I was ready for the level to be done instead of spending another 30 hours. Because like a challenging screen takes so long to make. I can pump out easy short screens pretty fast, like in probably like 3 to 4 hours, and they'd be fine. But a hard screen, I would have to playtest that so much, it would have taken forever. So I decided, stateless or stated? I mean, well, I just played through it stateless, but the 95% of the time, of the 70 hours I spent making this level was stateless. There was like 5% where I used save states primarily to just test a particular obstacle and like fine-tune some of the differing lengths. Like, oh, one sec, I can give an example. Let me see. Well, actually, I mean, the final screen I was just on has a lot of them. The final screen has a lot of them where I like largely didn't use save states. Most of the time, I mean, and folks that watch the streams of me designing can attest to this. Like most of the time, I'd never use save states when designing. Oops. I'm using save states now to more closely indicate what I'm talking about. So for instance, oop, God damn it! I swear I play way worse when I'm using save states. This trick right here, it took me forever to balance these two goddamn zippers. I don't know why, but lining these zippers up in a fashion that wasn't jank and painful to learn. Well, I hope it's not still painful to learn, but I hope I didn't just learn how to do it. But what took a while, and I didn't want to play through the whole screen every time, so I use save states for that. Howdy bees. Hope you're doing well. Been a bit. Been caught in the work life cycle. I've not been as present as you have been. Hey, no worries. I can respect someone that improves their sleep schedule. But yeah. So that's an example of an obstacle that's relatively deep in the screen that I was like really fiddling with, and that's where those are the times I use save states. But by and large, I've played through every single one of the screens in this level. It's not a terribly long level. It's like what, 8 primary screens? Let's say 7. But I've played through every single one probably, I don't know, like 200 plus times. Easy. Like, just to completion, just from making the level itself. Because actually 200 is way undercutting it, nothing. But anyway, especially on the hard ones. Because every time I would add something, I would just hit save, play through the whole level, or play through the whole screen, you know, to get to the something that I added. So all of the early obstacles, I almost guarantee you are not annoying, because I had to do them a million times. That is just a fact. I had to do them a million times. So the early obstacles on screens can't be painful. I promise that there's no way they're actually painful. After spending some time on them, maybe. Have a good night, Blank. Yeah, this really is gonna be a really long, clear video. I kind of forgot to start a different recording. Whatever. I'll just upload it as dev commentary and include it and make it clear video as well. But yeah, anything else anyone's got? I don't know if I have like a ton of fun tidbits, that I haven't already discussed. I do wonder, so it's really hard to see, and I do wonder if I should have made it brighter, but this isn't actually a black background. This is 2 layered style grounds. I don't think the stream is bright enough to really see it, but this is 2 layered style grounds. One is the purple stars that you can really easily see. The other is actually the farewell background, incredibly darkened, and you can barely see some of the stars in the background. It comes through a bit better with higher brightness in front of you, but you know, it's still, I maybe could have made it slightly brighter, but honestly, I added those style grounds last night. Like, no joke, all visual decor was made, and changes were made last night. I didn't even have this like intermediary room here that I'm using as a connector for the music until last night. So some of the stuff was maybe a bit last minute, but you know, details. How did I decide where to put the stalactites? Where I thought it looked good. Generally. In what section, for instance? Like what? Like here, for instance? Oh, actually here. I mean, so for example, if we just look at this. Hey, Layla. Thanks, good luck. Baby Gaimo is crying, so you're showing him the stream and he is now invested. I'm happy to hear it's helped. Did you put these stalagmites? So honestly, it was kind of just off the cuff. I was kind of, for example, let's just take this room for instance. This room had to go, you know, it had to connect into one of these tutorial berry rooms I have, right? So I knew it had to be at least as long as the tutorial room. So what I did was this room, it was initially a flat plane with with one dream block here. I then went and designed the tutorial room below, and then after I'd finished designing this tutorial room, I then went, I went back to the intermediary room, oh my gosh, and styled it with knowing, since I could now know where the other dream block was. So I basically waited until I knew where this dream block would be, increased the size of this room, and then after that I was like, well, I don't really want dead sky, so I'll just add some pillars from above. The map doesn't have any real lore behind it, so you know, why not? How'd you decide on the title and music? The title... Well, I've alluded to a couple times that I really like the idea of like a megalith, a mega structure, and moving throughout it. And well, I don't think I entirely got that idea across. The name Monolithic Dreams, I think I made it plural, largely came from that, where, you know, some monolith, which is kind of this blue, like what this blue moon brick represents, with the background and everything that you're moving into and out of. And then, you know, dreaming kind of was just fitting the vibe, you know, like stream block level, has dream blocks. I don't know this, it's honestly more of a zipper level than anything, but sue me for false advertising. But yeah, so that's kind of where Monolithic Dreams came out of. Music-wise, well, it kind of came in two parts. First, I was like, this first section, I didn't want to choose a bunch of music, I admit it. As always, a lot of the stuff that could have been in this level, what didn't happen because I was too lazy to do it. Or more accurately, I just wanted to release the level and move on to other things. So, you know, there is a larger scope that could have happened here, where I modified the music a bit more. But I wanted, like, a mysterious but action-oriented song with a good beat, that kind of fit the level and the vibe of the level, right? And so to start with, I just went zooming through a bunch of royalty-free, like, music websites. I listened to a bunch of clips for, what's his name? Kevin MacLeod, who is like a well-known composer that has a website full of royalty-free music. So I listened to a bunch of those to sort of get the vibe. And then one day on my commute, I just chose the Chicory soundtrack. And, you know, and got to this song, I was like, wait, this is reasonably fast-paced. It has a good beat. It's mysterious. It's not, like, too crazy. I was just randomly listening to the soundtrack, and I was like, wait, this is perfect. It's, it was literally just random happenstance. One of the reasons this level took so long this month, because I haven't made a ton of gameplay changes this month. I made all the screens at, like, the beginning of the month was when I finished the last one. But I spent 2 to 3 weeks just undecided on music. These corner kicks are kind of mean. I know, they're not so bad. Are you talking about the neutral in the corner kick? Or the double corner kick? The double corner kick, I'll defend. It's very consistent. I wasn't mean enough to include any actual hard setup for the double corner kick. But yeah, I admit that may have been a bit of a difficulty spike. The problem was the level or the screen turned out exactly how I wanted to, and and by the time I got done with the level, I didn't want to add another filler screen to bridge the difficulty gap. Except with the 5 crumble blocks. Oh, wait. Are you talking what? Like this screen? Oops. That trick right there? Oh, oops, why am I holding grab? The map is out. Yes, the map is out, Layla. That's what the stream is. The map is out. That's what the stream is. The map is hopefully done. As long as no one discovers a game-breaking bug or some other terrible issue, I don't really plan to have patches for it. I'm happy to listen to advice and feedback, but I don't really want to go back and change the level. It's my first creation, is what it is. But I'm definitely down for feedback. Oh, that's tight? Yeah, the cheese past the entire last screen. I don't care about cheese. You know, if I didn't catch it, more power to you. Not that I was looking that hard. By and large, if you can cheese it in a way I didn't think of, congratulations. But what was I gonna say? But yeah, I admit that one trick at the end of the screen, because this first trick is basically just a copy of this first trick, except you don't have a setup. And the first trick is free. Like, it's unironically free. It's like it's really hard to mess this up. It's just a matter of timing, and it's not hard. Not hard at all. But the last one, I admit, when I first added it, I was worried it was oops. I find it mildly amusing how I'm getting the hard trick and keep like not thinking and failing the part right after. But anyway, mapper bias? Probably. This timing is tight. Oh, it's absolutely tight. I'm not saying it's free trick at all. I'm not making no allusions to that. I think that's a very hard trick. It took me a little bit to get it down. I am making no promises that this level does not have things that it will take some tries to do. Like, this is not the freest level in the world. This level has some harder tricks that, at least when I made them, they took me a little bit. One thing I'll promise is everything in this level is consistent for me at this point, which means the setups and everything, playing through without save states, fully consistent. That's the only thing I can really promise. I cannot promise how easy or hard any of these tricks are to learn. So yeah, the timing on that is reasonably tight. Though I would say it's slightly easier than it looks, but it's still very hard. Actually, I do have a fun tidbit about that trick. In that, when I originally made the trick, I put in, oops. One sec. I'm gonna save state here. Here, I allowed you to grab onto this wall and just put, like, ice at the bottom. Then I found that when I did that, I literally could not miss it. The trick was free. It lost all challenge overnight. Like, at that time, I hadn't gotten the timing down in my head. But when I allowed you to just grab and hang for a sec and then just time your fall, it was completely free. I was like, nah, and then I managed to get consistent with the ice. I was like, alright, fine by me. All it'll take is 70 hours of your time? I hope not. There's no way this is not a 70-hour level. But no, yeah. This trick, I am incredibly... I love this trick. I think it flows beautifully, and it is absolutely hard. And I apologize if you suffer because of it. Who knows? Like I said, I wouldn't be shocked if people walked away from this map saying, man, some of these tricks I didn't really like. They were too precise or too unintuitive or anything. I tried to make them everything fairly reasonable. Obviously, with myself as a barometer, really. So that in of itself comes with its own problems. But, you know, what can you do? I accept feedback. I'm not gonna change it, but I accept feedback. Oh, alright. Timing, or pausing that is a mistake. What was I doing? Oh, yeah. Oops. Like I said, I swear I play way worse when Yeah, I definitely play way worse out of a save state. I just... I lose my flow state. This fucking wall bounce! It's not that hard, I promise! The wall bounce after, it's not that hard. I intentionally made it pretty reasonable. Feedback for the next level? Sure. I use that trick a lot in this level, or a reasonable amount in this level, so I'm probably not gonna have it in the next level, but you know. What can you do? But yeah, anyway. Before I spend time playing through my whole screen again, trying to think if I might ask an expert about this window. Shoot. Or not at me, but like, sure, go ahead. Oh yeah. So, as like a random aside, this trick, honestly, at a certain point, oops, you can just slide on the wall in demo and then not make it to the other corner. Slide on the wall demo and not make it to the other corner? Really? I feel like I always would make it with pretty reasonable distance. I think. I don't know. I'll be curious. Like I said, honestly, if there's any trick that people were going to complain about in this level, it's probably that one. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, the, like, diagonal wall bounce, sanding wall bounce, which in hindsight means I probably shouldn't have put it as, like, the first main screen of the level. This trick right here, that trick had a lot of variations in it. I was this close to writing this trick and everything like it out of the level, even though it was one of like the original ideas I had, but I spent a fair amount of time trying to make it as reasonable as possible. Because, so this actually is not pixel perfect. It is a neutral lineup, but it's by no means pixel perfect. I found that when I made it pixel perfect, it made it too easy to accidentally move a singular pixel and kill yourself when you try and get the diagonal. So I kind of nerfed the pixelness of the neutral lineup in order to make the following trick easier. As a consequence of that, I don't think I can do it on command, but it's not terribly hard. There you go. You can do that. Not intended, but you can totally not do the Dream Super and it lines up because I opened up the pixels on that lineup, and it's not impossible to do consistently, but I found the trick fun and I wanted to keep it, so I decided, alright, I'll sacrifice the integrity of this Dream Super requirement in order to allow that trick to stay. So I'm pretty sure you can cheese it a bit and not even do the trick if you want to, but I think the cheese would be harder than actually doing the trick, so that's fine. Because you'd have to jump around the spikes and whatnot. Alright, I don't think I have anything more to say. Happy to talk about the level, but like I said, I think at the end of the day, you know, honestly, these two screens right here, the vertical one and this, the one where I first used the double corner kick, are probably my favorite screens in the level. And the ones I think actually qualify as good screens. All of the others I think have some good ideas, and you know, hey, maybe some of the tricks end up being too tight or they don't flow quite as well and whatnot. That'd be kind of like my own outlook on the level. Like I generally find, like, when I'm playing with my own biases, I find every screen in this level fun, but for sure, there's some. But like these two in particular are the ones I think have some flow great and had some really cool tricks and designs choices in there. But otherwise, I don't know. It's my first level. I I'm kind of entering with fairly low expectations. I tried to make a level that I enjoy, and then hopefully other people enjoy as well. But who knows? The visual design is being hard carried by some pretty graphics packet, or like pretty graphical assets made by other people. I'd have to put a lot of work and effort into making on the next level, into making it slightly more engaging to look at, because this level is very flat. I didn't really use three-dimensionality in the visuals at all, or like, I mean, it doesn't feel very layered or anything. There's not a ton going on, and that's something I'd really like to change. I think it's kind of like a pretty big weakness of the level overall. Granted, based on time allocation. Hey, Tom. Thank you for the GGs. I was just giving my whole spiel about my expectations for the level. But, yeah, based on allocation of resources in terms of time, it makes sense that the visuals are largely half-baked compared to the rest of the aspects of the level. But yeah, it's fun creating this. And it's fun getting to release something, because I've dabbled in creation tools many times, and I've never actually ever released anything. And it doesn't even matter if anyone plays it or not. That's not really the point. It just feels good to wipe the slate clean, because if you don't release it, and then I feel like there's always that, like, well, is it really done if it's not released? So, I'm happy to just release this, move on, accept any feedback and whatnot. But like, the unfinished projects kind of build up, don't they? They do build up. So, like I said I was gonna finish this level this month, and just in the nick of time. Only one day left on the month, but we did it. And there was a reason. I set a hard deadline for myself to finish it by the end of the month, so that it wasn't lingering over me. Because I feel like it's kind of like I can only get up at 5-minute intervals, Like, well, it's 6:46. I guess I have to wait till 6:50 to get up, It wouldn't make any sense to get up at 6:46, right? It's kind of that thing where, if it pushed over into the next month, I might as well just finish it this month and wait and finish it by August 31st. Or whatever. So, almost at the 1-year anniversary of being GMHS2, isn't it? No clue. I have no idea. Is it? I don't know. I mean, that would be a fun coincidence, but something like that? Nah, no. I don't keep track of dates like that. Yeah, so. But anyway, in summation, level creation was fun. It was fun to learn. Learned a lot. Like, I feel like the early screens suffered a lot from my complete lack of knowledge on what was going on when making the level. Like, I couldn't do anything fancy because I didn't know how to do anything fancy or really interesting with stuff, right? Now, I didn't even learn how key doors worked until this screen, and this was the second to last screen made, for example. So, so this level, like, if you look through the screen names, you can see the order of creation. And I feel like this level really, I would say you can see which ones were made earlier and which ones were made later just by playing it, but who knows? Maybe that might not be the case. But Feel like learned a lot just from creating and playing through the level a million times. I beat Grandmaster Heartside on August 8th, 2024. Oh, there you go. You've always had a better memory for dates than me. But, yeah. After this, I think... I don't know. I might do a Theo level. Undecided. There's a bunch of different stuff I could do. I wanted to beat it in July. What, Grandmaster Heartside? I want to do a lot of things. Grandmaster Heartside was not very cooperative. Yeah, after this, I think I might try my hand at a Theo level. We'll see. Unless I get a bunch of feedback from... Well, I mean, I'd probably still make it. But unless, like, a bunch of people play this map and beg me, please don't make another level. I beg of you. In that case, I'd probably still make the level. And I'd probably still publish it. And I'd probably just ignore them. But, you know, I'd take it into consideration if it was inflicting damage upon their mental health for any reason. Unfollowed and blocked for making a throwable map. I haven't made it! This isn't a throwable map! I'm innocent! That's just the next one. Maybe. I haven't even decided. I don't know. Theo really interests me. Though if I made the Theo level, I love Smuggles, so it'd probably also be another Dream Block level. So maybe I should have some variety. Well, the other one, I forget what they're called. They're the, like, activated move blocks that are introduced in the 4th level, I think? I forget what it's called. Where, like, you step on them and they just start moving. Farewell uses them some. I really love those blocks. I think those blocks have some crazy cool gameplay you can do with them. I wish I knew what they were called. So I would be kind of tempted to try my hand at making one of those levels. I don't know how to do the move block. Oh, they're just called move block. All right, well, what can you do? Look, I tried to add a signpost for the credits, right? And apparently, to add a signpost, there isn't a signpost entity you can add with, like, editable text or anything. You have to add an invisible NPC that you put behind a random signpost decal. There you go. What sense does that make? I didn't want to just ask a bunch of questions, so I was like, you know, so a lot of the time when I was looking for a specific entity, I would try to find it myself. I was like, okay, sign, it's not a sign. Message, no, it's not a message. Box, like, I don't know, message box or something, no. Prompt, no. I was just like scrolling through and trying everything I could think of to include just a message box. Or like a triggerable message box. And nope, NPC. It's an NPC. The more you know. So I think I might have messed up and only allowed you to talk to them once. You know, something easy for dialogue. Yeah, the dialogue is slightly painful. You have to go into your to english.txt in your dialogue file in a completely separate folder from other stuff and create like an ID for the text and then that is linked to a specific text and then go in for an NPC. I don't know. That's the way I saw to do it, and that's what the tutorials tell you. Maybe someone's made an easy dialogue mod at some point. That wouldn't shock me. But granted, admittedly, if someone has, I wouldn't know because I added dialogue, like, I don't know, uh, 30 minutes before I started stream. So, it's like, so honestly, this was very. I wanted to publish the map before stream. I admit it. So I delayed stream to do it, but I was trying to figure out how to add dialogue to the map, which was more complicated than I was originally anticipating, and so that kind of delayed things. And so I tested it once. There was a very real possibility that in the process of doing that, I accidentally broke the map and still released it because I was kind of in a rush. But it's based on my playtest right now, or like earlier, it seems to be fine. Well, you know, deadlines call, and all the checks and balances go out the window. Just the nature of life. Anyway, but yeah, so move block, you know, move blocks are cool. I'd love to make a move block level, or at least one featuring them. Theo interests me. A speed level, like, I'm trying to think of different level archetypes and things. I can't really see myself being a movement preservation guy. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I think the farthest I would go, is like a Goltra into a jellyfish. You know, which is like the barest bones of movement preservation. I feel like that's the farthest I would go. I have a lot of pet peeves with movement preservation levels, or momentum preservation levels, sorry. And so I can't see myself having all those gripes and then turning around and making one myself. But you never know. Alright, I think that's my whole spiel. Pretty sure I already shouted out all the folks whose assets I used. And they're absolute G's for including it, by the way, for use. Like, man, the Celeste asset drive is a real lifesaver, because otherwise this map would be real boring with base Celeste assets. Because there is zero chance, especially for the first map, that I was actually going to go and make custom sprites. Shout out to the assist, exactly. So Cat, as I already mentioned, moon bricks, the main tile I use everywhere to walk on, that's by Cat. I don't know if they originally made it for Strawberry Jam, but it was awesome of them to upload it. Citria with the Sile Ground for the background stars. And then, I mean, Lena Rain, for the music. I say the second half in this, but realistically, it's more like the last 80%, now that I think about it, but it's the second song, basically the second half. And then Twitch chat. Yeah. But otherwise, I didn't use anything else. I should have asked someone. I should have checked whether it's common to shout out the dependencies. Downside is I wasn't quite sure who made all of them, but I mean, I'll say it here. Huge shout out to the people that made the dependencies I used. I'm building off the not really, it seems. Okay, but huge shout out to them. Like, Maddie's Helping Hand, obviously, is, total lifesaver. I use Maddie's Helping Hand. I'm pretty sure I can remember this. Shroom Helper. I must confess, I don't even remember what I used Shroom Helper for. But I've also gone in and removed everything or I made sure I trimmed everything that, like, all the dependencies I didn't need that I might have accidentally included along the way. So I definitely used it. I don't remember what I used it for, though. Nerd Helper and Chronia Helper. Those are the 4 dependencies for this map. Huge shoutouts to all the folks that designed those. This map wouldn't exist without them. In its current form, it would exist in some form. Mostly just with me trying to... Well, I think the corner boost wouldn't exist because people would complain about an unlenient corner boost. And honestly, I would be one of those people. But yeah, so huge shout out to all of them, and shout out to the folks whose assets I am using and Rain for the music, which I did purchase to include in the level, but it's not like the purchase actually comes with rights to use it in a level, and I didn't go and get permission, so I apologize. I'm happy to change the music should it be requested. Just, you know, I needed music that wouldn't mute every stream. Which video game music is generally the go-to for that. But yeah, there we go.